All right, this will be a quick review update on the Ruger American Gen 2. This one is in 243. So I've had this gun about 9 months now. I did an original review video, talked about a lot of the specs. That one got a little long. I also filmed it vertically, which garnered a lot of hate. So figured I'd do a quick update. I currently have about 400 to 500 rounds through this. I don't keep an exact count, but we shot it quite a bit. Factory ammo, I've shot the Hornady American Whitetail, Hornady Superformance, and then I've dabbled in some hand loads with ballistic tips and Spear gold dots. Overall accuracy of this gun has been outstanding. Right at about 1 MOA with factory ammo. Same thing with my hand loads. I haven't had a lot of time to play with it, and I haven't found the perfect hand load for it yet, but no doubt that we can do better than that with hand loads. I'll note that initially I got this gun and just put a thread protector on it, and again it shot right at 1 MOA with the American Whitetail, about 1.5 with the Hornady Superformance, which is what I've come to expect from that. It seems like it can never get much better than about 1.5 MOA with Superformance. I know a lot of guys say they get excellent accuracy out of it. I've just not had that luck with any of the rifles I've tested it out of. So quite happy with the 1 MOA. Did quite a bit of shooting with it, and then the intention was always to put a suppressor on here. Ended up throwing the YHM R9 on here, one of my favorite suppressors. And initially I put it on with the QD adapter, so it had probably about 1 1/8 inches extra length compared to what you see now, and probably 2 to 3 ounces in weight. Screwing that suppressor on here brought this gun down like instantly to about a 1/2 MOA rifle. So for whatever reason, this gun really loved a heavy can. It shot extremely well, probably the most accurate factory rifle I've ever shot with factory ammo. Again, with that heavy can on the front. Unfortunately, despite the fact that it showed a pretty good increase in accuracy, I hated the extra length and weight. So I ended up just direct threading this with the silencer co-adapter, and it went up to about 0.9 MOA. So right now, Hornady American Whitetail factory ammo is running right at about 0.9 MOA, which is extremely acceptable accuracy from a factory production gun. Suppresses very well. So accuracy, again, outstanding. I'm not going to beat it up too much. Very good. Certainly capable of sub MOA with hand loads. And for people that have a heavy can and they're wondering how it would function, this gun absolutely loved a big, long, heavy can on the front. It also shoots very well with the R9 and direct thread, which is fairly short and lightweight. Barreled action's excellent. Again, they've got the Cerakote on there, very well applied, especially in this price range. You've got the fluting on the barrel. One thing I've noticed with the action when the kids started shooting the gun more is it is harder to chamber and extract a round than most of my other rifles. So I don't know if that's a product of like super high extractor or ejector spring pressure, or just the way the bolt interfaces with the chamber and stuff, but not significant, but it's notable. Kids can run my Tikas pretty easily. This one takes a little more pressure, and I noted that they're having some issues initially until I told them, hey, you got to put some effort into it. So my 14-year-old daughter has no problem chambering and extracting rounds, but still, like I said, I do see her struggle with it more than a lot of the other guns that I own. So if it's going to a really young, really small shooter, just be aware of that. This isn't something you're going to throw on a bipod and leave just sitting loosely on a bag and work the bolt on. You're going to have to actually hold it down, just because there is a lot harder, not a lot, but a little harder chambering and bolt lift on this one. So we talked mag again. A little bit of back pressure goes a long ways. The trigger I thought I could live with. Initially I'd set it down to about 3.5 pounds. It wasn't terrible. I thought I'd be great with that. Turns out I got greedy. I started tampering with it, and as I backed the screw out more, the pull weight actually went up. So I'm not sure if I didn't have a great pull weight on that first video, or if that's actually possible, but ended up right about 4 pounds, which is really disappointing. Commend Ruger. This is a phenomenal gun. They did a great job. In my opinion, that's probably the one thing that they definitely could improve. Again, the other stuff's kind of minor. Thankfully, I did a little online research. Yes, people are making triggers for these. No, you don't need to spend a couple $100s on a new trigger. M-Carbo makes a spring for these. Takes about 5 minutes to swap it out, and just a spring swap brought this down from about 4 pounds to about 1 pound 14 ounces. Again, that's with that screw backed all the way out. With that spring in there is a little bit of take up. It feels kind of like a two-stage trigger, but the break is really nice. Very acceptable trigger. It's on par with triggers I've spent a lot more money for, Timneys and Trigger Techs. So not phenomenal, but certainly acceptable in a hunting rig. Next thing I see a lot of people hating on is the stock. Completely, in my opinion, unjustified. I really like the stock on the gun. I love the rough texture on there. It feels great in the hand. It's got the adjustable riser, adjustable length of pull. I don't think you can see it because I got the ammo holder on, but this is actually shortened up for my daughter. That system works very well designed, very much appreciated in a gun in this price range. So I think the thing people hate about the stock is the old Camilla style dip here in the back. I don't notice that at all when I shoot the gun, and I shoot a lot of guns. Recoil pad is excellent. Probably one of the best production recoil pads I've ever come across. So all in all, we've been extremely happy with the gun. Really the only negatives I could think of, honestly, the bolt is a little harder to close and open than most. The mag can be a little difficult to get in until you put a little back pressure on it. And if you're a trigger snob, you're going to want to put a trigger spring in the gun. Everything else, very well executed. Again, the threaded muzzle, the Cerakoted barrel action, the rail, the stock, just been extremely happy with it. My brother liked this gun so much, he bought an identical one in 7mm .8. That one's also shooting right at MOA with factory ammo. And doing very well. So what else? 3-position safety. Again, that's for me, that's a deal breaker. If I don't have a safety that can lock a bolt shut. I know a lot of people disagreed in the original video, but pounding out a ton of miles, hiking through the mountains, climbing over deadfall, really aggravating when you constantly find your bolt open and rounds missing from the chamber, especially if you're hunting in places where big brown furry bears like to torment people. Seen a comparison the other day. I want to touch on this quickly. A lot of hatred again for some reason, and came across some forums which I should never read because they just aggravate me, and they were saying, this gun, yeah, it's all right, but by the time you replace the stock and the trigger, you're going to have another $400 into it, and you might as well just buy a Tikka. That's unfair in my opinion, especially since reading all these comments, it doesn't sound like any of the people that were commenting actually owned one of these rifles or had ever shot one. Again, I think they were just hating on the dip on the back of the stock. There's absolutely no reason to replace the stock on these rifles. The stock is extremely acceptable. The barrel is properly free floated. The stock is rigid enough. You can put it on a bipod and shoot all day. You're not going to have any contact issues with the barrel. Cheek riser, excellent. Length of pull adjustment, really good. So again, that's overstated. There's nothing wrong with the stock, certainly on par with like the Tikka stocks and stuff like that. And for the record, I am in no way hating on Tikka. I love Tikka rifles. I own more of them than anything else. Again, the trigger, yes, the trigger could definitely use a little bit of work. Again, not everybody's a trigger snob. It seems like people are expecting a 2-pound glass break from a factory production rifle, and unfortunately that's not going to happen in a lot of cases. So I paid $580 for this gun. I put $18 worth of trigger springs into it, or a trigger spring. So I have $600 into a rifle that's certainly capable of sub MOA, that does everything I would ever need a hunting rifle to do. So let's be fair and let's do the comparison the other way quick. To get a Tikka that lives up to the American Gen 2, we're looking at about, where I live, $200 to Cerakote the barreled action. Excuse me. And so Tikka's around about $750 on sale right now. So you're rocking about $950 for that, and then the adjustable length of pull, you're gonna have about $40 into, I put the Matthews machine, I believe it is, cheek riser on there. Tikkas also need a decent recoil pad if you're shooting them in any sort of real caliber, so that's another $40. So I mean, if we're being fair and we're comparing, price wise there's no comparison. So to get a Tikka, like I said, to where this gun is at, last thing on the Tikka is about $150 where I live to thread a muzzle. So I know a lot of guys want to compare this and say just buy the Tikka. I love Tikkas. I think they are probably the best production rifle out there. But this gun all in, Cerakoted barrel action, threaded muzzle, adjustable stock, decent recoil pad, you're looking at about $600. With the Tikka, you know, threading the barrel, Cerakoting the barreled action, replacing the butt pad and putting a riser on there, you're looking at over $1,000. Which would be insane because you might as well just buy the Rough Tech at that point. So again, not knocking Tikkas, excellent rifles, but they don't unfortunately come threaded in their standard barrel, probably because of the barrel diameter. That is a sporter weight barrel, and they don't come Cerakoted. So if you're going to compare evenly. The only gun on the market right now I've seen that this really compares to is the CVA Cascade. I've never shot one. I know guys that have them. They appear to be excellent rifles. Again, Cerakoted barreled action, threaded muzzle, come with good stock, good recoil pad, decent trigger. That one, the bolt does not lock shut with the safety, which aggravates the crap out of me. And it does not come with adjustable length pull or cheek riser, at least not that I'm aware of. So that one would be comparable to this, but again, this one comes with a little extra features. So again, overall, phenomenal gun. I like it. Would I take this out west hunting? Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with this rifle at all in the configuration it's in. I certainly wouldn't pick 243 as a western hunting cartridge for the majority of what I do, but the rifle design itself is extremely capable. Accuracy's been great. Reliability's 100%. Love the custom fit to the shooter. So if you have any questions, leave them down below. Again, I want to try and make this quick and film it horizontally so I don't get roasted this time. Overall, 4 stars, 4.5 stars. Again, if they just put a little better trigger spring in these from the factory, it would get almost a perfect review. Super easy for me to throw a trigger spring in, but if you're not well versed in guns, that can be awful intimidating to some people. So again, if you have any questions, leave them below. I will show you. Got a quick minute here. My daughter took this one out this year and shot her second buck that she's ever shot with it. Gun worked very well. Shot was only about 80 yards, which is fortunate. I hunt right behind my house here a lot of the time, so really big-bodied whitetail buck. The deer there is hanging about a foot below the 8-foot rafter, so she made a great shot. The deer only went about 15 yards. The rifle did everything we wanted it to, and I would not hesitate to recommend these to people that want to go hunting. Hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button. Someday maybe I'll actually make money off this by the time I retire in a decade. If you have real questions, leave them below. If you're just trolling, writing stupid stuff, you could pass and go to someone else. And thanks for watching. Good luck and good hunting.